In today's video, we're going to talk about Boethius, a man who played a big role in bringing the classics of ancient Greece to the Latin-speaking world and made his mark on history as one of the most important figures in philosophical thought. Boethius was one of the most influential thinkers of his time, known for his efforts to reconcile the teachings of Plato and Aristotle. We'll be focusing on his place in medieval philosophy, particularly his famous work, The Consolation of Philosophy. This work is considered a literary and philosophical masterpiece about the deep comfort that philosophy offers to the human spirit. Boethius wrote this work while he was imprisoned, and it had a profound impact, especially on medieval thought. Boethius was born in Rome in the year 480 AD and is often called the last of the Romans. His father was a consul, and Boethius belonged to the Anici family, one of the most prominent families in Rome. This well-established family background provided him with the best education available at the time. At a young age, Boethius traveled to Athens, where he became acquainted with Greek culture and philosophy. He learned Greek and began translating ancient philosophical texts into Latin. These translations acted as a bridge to Greek philosophical thought for the Latin-speaking world. During his time in Athens, Boethius studied the works of Plato and Aristotle, and became familiar with important schools of thought like Neoplatonism and Stoicism. Immersed in these diverse philosophical currents, Boethius returned to Rome and gained access to a vast library where he wrote many of his own works. His most important work, The Consolation of Philosophy, De Consolatione Philosophia, is a profound work about the place and meaning of philosophical thought in human life. Boethius was an influential figure during the division of the Roman Empire into East and West. He served in various positions under the patronage of King Theodoric, even reaching the highest ranks. However, in 522 AD, after defending a man named Albinus, who was accused of treason, Boethius himself faced similar charges and was imprisoned. During his time in prison, Boethius deepened his philosophical reflections and wrote his most famous work under these challenging circumstances. It is believed that he died in 524 or 525 AD. However, it is not known for certain whether he was executed. The Catholic Church declared Boethius a martyr in 883 AD, immortalizing his memory. Philosophical views and translations. Boethius translated many ancient Greek texts into Latin, including Aristotle's logical works and Euclid's Elements. These translations were widely read in the Western world throughout the Middle Ages and formed the foundation of philosophical thought. Although Boethius aimed to translate all the works of Aristotle and Plato, he couldn't fully achieve this goal due to the negative turn of events in his life. However, his translations and commentaries made significant contributions to medieval philosophy. In particular, his introduction of Aristotelian logic and Plato's theory of forms to Western thought ensured the lasting impact of his philosophical influence. One of Boethius's most important contributions was his division of philosophy into two main categories, theoretical and practical. He divided theoretical philosophy into three parts: natural philosophy, mathematics, and theology. And he classified practical philosophy as ethics, economics, and politics. This classification follows a similar line to Aristotle's approach. On the other hand, Boethius, also incorporating the Stoic tradition, divided philosophy into logic, ethics, and physics. This division was later adopted by important thinkers like Kant. Boethius also placed great importance on the tradition known as the quadrivium, which includes the four mathematical sciences: arithmetic, geometry, astronomy, and music. Music, in his classification, was considered a branch of mathematics and was seen as a part of both the human soul and the cosmic order. With this approach, Boethius contributed to both ancient Greek thought and Christian thought in the Middle Ages. Boethius's philosophy contains deep thoughts about the concept of God and the structure of the universe. Following the Aristotelian line, Boethius defined God as the unmoved mover and believed that the universe was shaped by the hand of God. God was defined as the pure being, above all other beings, and associated with absolute goodness. According to Boethius, the human soul is trapped in the body, just like in Plato's allegory of the cave. Truth lies in the depths of the soul and cannot be fully grasped due to bodily limitations. Boethius argues that truth possesses this inner light, and that knowledge is acquired through recollection, which brings him closer to Plato's theory of recollection. Boethius adopted a Platonist viewpoint on the problem of universals. According to him, universals are immaterial realities that exist independently and are found as ideas in the mind of God and as concepts in our minds. This approach is similar to Plato's theory of forms. Universals were seen as realities existing both in the mind and outside the mind. Boethius's philosophical approach became an important reference point in discussions about universals throughout the Middle Ages. Boethius addressed the problem of knowledge in detail, thoroughly examining the structure of knowledge, the role of the subject in the process of knowing, and the relationship between knowledge and being. According to him, the process of knowing goes through various stages, such as sensation, imagination, reason, and understanding. These stages differ depending on the nature of the object of knowledge. God, as an infinite and unlimited being, is a being with only the capacity for understanding, and therefore does not need other means of knowing. In his work, The Consolation of Philosophy, Boethius explains these stages of knowledge in detail and addresses humanity's search for knowledge from a profound philosophical perspective. Boethius's views on freedom and necessity hold a significant place in his philosophy. Boethius delved deeply into this complex relationship. He pondered the freedom of human will through his discussions on divine knowledge and human freedom. According to Boethius, God's foreknowledge of future events does not make those events necessary. Although events may appear necessary from the perspective of divine knowledge, they are free and independent in their own nature. This view made a significant contribution to the debates on free will and fate, becoming a widespread topic of discussion, especially among Christian philosophers. Boethius's work, The Consolation of Philosophy, written in prison, became one of the most influential philosophical and literary works of the Middle Ages. The work narrates Boethius's search for philosophical consolation as he embarks on an inner journey within the confines of prison. Philosophy, personified as a character, appears to Boethius and engages in lengthy dialogues with him. These dialogues contain profound thoughts on Boethius's own hardships and humanity's existential questions in the world. Throughout the Middle Ages, this work was translated into many European languages, and its influence continued until the Renaissance. Both intellectually and literarily, this work served as a guide for those seeking philosophical consolation and offered a deep inquiry into how humans should face hardships. Boethius's philosophical ideas had a profound impact on scholastic thought, especially from the 12th century onwards. Prominent thinkers like Thomas Aquinas, Anselm, and Duns Scotus built their own philosophical systems based on his works. Boethius's studies on God, free will, and universals shaped the direction of Western thought throughout the Middle Ages and laid the foundations of modern philosophy. Boethius's ideas were part of an effort to reconcile the ideas of Aristotle and Plato with the fundamental teachings of Christianity. This effort is considered one of the most important characteristics of medieval philosophy. Boethius, both during his lifetime and after his death, left behind an intellectual and spiritual legacy through his ideas. Boethius's life, philosophy, and ideas shed light on humanity's struggle between fate and freedom. The Consolation of Philosophy demonstrates how reason and philosophy can be a refuge in the face of life's challenges. Even in today's world, Boethius's philosophy continues to be an important reference point as humans try to understand themselves and find answers to existential questions. His ideas remain a guide for those who wish to journey into the depths of philosophy.